Hey, what's up? Will here from Flow Candy, and I'm going to go over our Black Friday, Cyber Monday checklists. So this is a checklist we share with clients sometimes. Sometimes as soon as like August or September, but certainly in October and early November, we are going through this checklist with our clients to prep them for Cyber Week, which is sort of the end of November. And I'm just going to go through our checklist here and just sort of give you my raw take on a lot of these questions. But yeah, I'm giving away this totally for free. So if you're watching this on YouTube, there's a link in the description where you can get this exact checklist and you can download it, copy it, print it, whatever you want to use, however you want to use it to go through it for your own store. Or if you're an agency or a freelancer that's managing Black Friday or Cyber Monday for clients, this will be helpful for you too. But yeah, let's just go through each one. The first one I always start with clients is, what are your goals? And if you're watching this, you're like, well, I don't have any goals. Like, uh, that's not a big deal. I can help you. Normally, if you're stuck on your goals, okay, one quick tip would be to go back and look at what you did the year before, the previous year, and just try to beat that number. Or go back and look at the last 5 years and see, okay, which Black Friday that we have is successful and why. And you want to go through and look at like how many emails you sent, what ads you were using, what promo or offer you were doing, which ads or emails were successful, which ones were not successful, what copy was successful, what images were successful. And so sort of go back and reverse engineer success. Okay, that's if you don't have any goals. All right, just try to beat the previous year. That's a great place to start. That's normally where we start with a lot of our clients. Now, if you do have pretty granular goals set for Black Friday, one pro tip I would share with you is just make sure they're easily accessible. If you're in a larger team, make sure they're in Slack or they're in a Google Doc or something where everyone has visibility. Because from my experience, what happens during this Cyber Week is, first off, it's a huge revenue event for a lot of stores. So it's really important. You want to make sure there's no mishaps. Two, it also coincides with a major US holiday. So people are kind of in and out. It's Thanksgiving, obviously. And so you just want to make sure everyone is aligned and on the same page on like what success actually looks like for Black Friday, Cyber Monday. So we tell people, hey, like let's set goals, put them in a Google Doc or put them in a Notion or whatever you're using, pin it to Slack, whatever it is. Just make sure it's easily accessible so that everybody on the team can get access to them and see them, and it doesn't create like back and forth during like the busiest time of the year. Okay, so that's really the most important thing because that's going to dictate a lot of things. If you're on track with your goals throughout Cyber Week, then you don't need to build extra campaigns. If you're off track, then yeah, you might need to scramble. So this is why I always start with goals and getting people aligned on like, hey, what are we actually trying to do here with Black Friday, Cyber Monday? If you're a larger brand and you have like you're into strategic planning, quarterly planning, stuff like that. If you have specific email and retention goals, you'll want to make sure that those stack nicely to these BFCM goals. So you'll want to make sure, hey, if we have a certain annual goal to hit this number, whatever the KPI may be in our CRM or retention programs, let's make sure that plays nice with the Black Friday Cyber Monday goal. So that's another thing. This is for more advanced teams, but you definitely want to look at that. One thing we talk about specifically, sometimes like really early on, sometimes even in like Q1 or Q2, is I'll hear clients talking about prepping inventory, especially if their products have a longer lead time. So you'll really want to make sure you're aware of your stock levels. You want to create alerts to prevent stockouts. So just, now would be the time to really just double check those. One thing we always tell, now I'm filming this in September, so it might not be ideal right now, but certainly the week of Cyber Week, getting into mid-November, like you want to have a lot of these emails and SMS messages already built out. And that's true for any campaign calendar. We tell our clients, we want you planned out at least a month, sometimes a quarter, your whole like campaign calendar planned out, and you'll want to start production on email sometimes 2 or 3 weeks out. So that way, when it comes the day of the send, you're just double checking things. You're not scrambling at the last minute to update designs and stuff like that. You're just double checking segments, looking at reporting. Maybe you have to fix a design here and there or tweak some copy here and there, but it's not like this last minute push where mistakes might happen. So really make sure you have you have like a handle on the workflow and the cadence, and then you're ahead of that. The next thing that I always tell clients, say, what ads are you doing, or where are you driving traffic from? Like, what's your main traffic source? A lot of our clients, it's social media or either paid or organic. And what are you doing during this Cyber Week? And is it in alignment with your CRM strategy? One little pro tip I always tell people is that, hey, like if you're a store that drives a lot of traffic with Facebook ads, if you want to have higher conversion rates on the retention side or in CRM, make sure that those emails, text messages, direct mail is somewhat aligned with the copy and tone, the look and the feel of what you're doing top of funnel to drive the traffic. So, same thing here during Black Friday. Like whatever we're doing top of funnel on Black Friday, Cyber Monday, we don't want there to be this huge departure from it on the back end. And sometimes when you have fractured teams, silo teams, you have, an agency driving traffic and then another agency doing the retention. It's really easy to get siloed. And again, like people aren't on the same page, and then there's just conversion issues. So you'll definitely want to make sure that people are aligned across teams. Again, if you have things in-house, a lot of times this is easier, but I know some of you watching this might have several or 3 or 4 different agencies managing things, and you want to make sure they're all on the same page now heading into September or October, so that there's no fiascos during Black Friday. Another thing too with the CRM teams is certainly leading up to this and during Black Friday, Cyber Monday, there is not a lot, but some of the workflow is put on them to build these audiences. Specifically like these crazy granular segments that the acquisition team might want pushed into Facebook or Google as a custom audience. So you'll want to make sure like that these are set up correctly ahead of time, or you'll just at least want to inventory like what we're going to actually need, or you'll just want to tell the CRM team, hey, like maybe be on standby. Come Black Friday or Cyber Monday, if we're off track a little bit, we might need a segment built really quickly. Worst case, you just want to get your media buyer and your CRM team talking right now about segmentation if they're not already, because there will sometimes, from my experience, be some last minute segments needed and pushed over to Facebook. Next thing, have we gone through quality control? So this is standard process, and this is something you're going to want to do more the day of or the week of. What I see a lot of brands, especially when they're moving in-house, is they don't have really good systems to manage emails. This is something agencies actually do pretty well. I know people talk a lot of crap about agencies, but this is the one thing I've continually noticed they do well. They have good systems to get emails built out, or SMS messages or flows or ads, whatever it may be, whatever they're doing. And typically in digital marketing, they'll have pretty good quality control, or certainly the really good agencies will have some sort of quality control component. So you'll want to make sure you have that quality control process as you're going through your Black Friday, Cyber Monday, the mediums that you're pushing, whether it's email or SMS. And it's more than just, I put grammar, links, discount codes. These are the obvious ones. Do the links work? Do the discount codes work? Is the grammar right? Like whatever the offer is, like let's say the offer is if I buy $50 worth of X, I get Y added into the checkout. Has someone on your team actually like gone and tested the offer? Because I've seen that happen before. So you'll really want to make sure that these offers are like correct, but it's more than that. You'll want to make sure, that, like it looks good in dark mode, or that the emails deploy correctly in Apple Mail versus Gmail versus, Yahoo, all these different mediums, or versus mobile and desktop. So there is a more granular quality control process than just this, but really want to spend some time on that and have like pretty dialed in stuff. Next one, have you double checked your shipping and return policies to make sure there are no issues or miscommunications? Most of my clients don't change their policies during heavy promo periods like a Black Friday, but sometimes they do, depending upon the promotion. Not like in a malevolent way. It's just sometimes like things need to be updated a little bit. So if you're having an offer that's a little bit more complex or deviates from your shipping and return policies, you'll want to make sure that's correct. Same with the FAQs. Like if there's something a little bit complex with the delivery of that offer, there's something a little bit different than normal business as usual, you want to make sure the FAQs on the site reflect that. Again, like you'll want to make sure everything is like every like sort of customer experience piece of the business is in good shape. So it starts with chat. In my experience, chat requests, chat tickets, whatever you want to go call it, go up during Black Friday. They also go up after the week after Black Friday, or certainly the week after Christmas and after New Year's, just because people are returning stuff. So you'll definitely want to make sure that is all buttoned up throughout the whole fourth quarter, and that there's no gaps, that you're responding to emails on time, you're checking the text messages that come in, the marketing messages. You'll really want to like make sure you have a handle on that. I kind of talked about this earlier about with quality control, but do your emails look good in dark mode? Do they look good in Apple Mail versus Gmail? A lot of people just send like the preview, or they even just check the preview in desktop, like in a new tab, but they don't realize that it differentiates across desktop and mobile, or it differentiates across desktop and mobile across ESP. The one that we particularly have problems with is Outlook, in my experience. Like just the way like more complex emails that have more granular tables, for some reason they just do not render as well in like it might render very well in Apple Mail and Gmail, but in Outlook it kind of breaks down. Coming back to quality control, have you double checked the subject lines? Do you have preview text in all of them? Are you running A/B tests? Like, have they been set up correctly? Are you using UTM parameters or UTM tracking? Is it set up correctly? Do the emails look good on both mobile and desktop? Have we built out all the segmentation? Are we clear on the segmentation? So these are, very, again, you might not really check these off. And the beauty of this checklist, again, is you might not really check this off until the week of, but it's getting you thinking about like what is actually needed for Black Friday. It's more than just like, hey, we need to build a couple of emails and blast them out to our list. Especially if you want to have a high quality one, you really need to get granular with the goal planning, get granular with the quality control, get granular with the segmentation. The more you do that now, the more ahead you're going to get in a month or two. Double checking segmentation. Again, I've seen this mistake happen a lot, where people, it's really easy to screw up these segments. Just the ors, the filters, the triggers, all these, the metrics is just confusing to people. Now with Klaviyo AI, you can now prompt the segment builder, where you can just like, literally like ChatGPT is building a segment. Hey, I want to create me a segment. Everyone who lives in Austin, Texas, and placed an order in January 2022. Like you can literally prompt Klaviyo now, and the AI will build a segment to do that. So that has made it a little bit easier, but even those, you still need to quality control a little bit. So I would get ahead of that now. I really, when it comes to quality controlling segmentation and building out and double checking the logic too, a more advanced tip too would be to like really make sure, if you're thinking about your revenue goals, like, do we have the send size to actually beat the revenue goal? Let's say you sent to 1 million people last Black Friday, that Thursday or whatever, the Friday on Black Friday, your first email was to 1 million people. Like, are you somewhat sending to that same size? Is it a little bit more? Is it a little bit less? Is it drastically less? My experience is if it's drastically less, you're probably not going to hit that goal, or you're not going to beat last year. So that's where it comes to me also double checking the segmentations. It's not just double checking that the logic is correct. It's like, is it in alignment with the goals that we set? Is this segmentation big enough to hit the goals, or is it too big in some cases? You just want to make sure that there's alignment there. Again, like checking discount codes, promotions, like do they work correctly? Checking payment gateways. If you really want to get granular, most of the time you don't have to do this anymore. But back in the day, like I used to have to go and check. Like we had a totally separate uh, checkout funnel for subscriptions. There was a totally different checkout, when you were to go to PayPal or something like that. And so you just want to make sure if you're having different payment gateways, everything works correctly. There's no issues. You're not going to drop. There's not going to be any drop payments or anything. I always do test orders, like for big product launches, big promos. I would do a test order on anything. Especially if it's a discount code. Like double check that it all works there. Everything's flowing in correctly. Especially if it's a more complex offer. The more complex, like the more you need to test. So really go through and just double check that that's all working. Next thing you do, and this getting more into the post, the flows and stuff like that. So from my experiences, a lot of times clients will have a pretty aggressive offer sometimes on Black Friday, Cyber Monday, and they don't want it to conflict with maybe offers that they have in like a abandoned checkout flow or something like that. So sometimes they will literally go and turn off certain emails, like an abandoned checkout flow that has like a 20% off code or something like that during Cyber Week. So you'll want to go and audit. If you have a journey map, pull that up too. Like which flows are we really discounting in? Do we want those flows off? Do we want to keep them on? Especially in the post-purchase experience too, you'll want to like just go and audit that. And same thing with the pre-purchase. Like, are we discounting heavily in our pre-purchase flows when we're already doing a big promotion during Cyber Week? Probably want to turn that off. Getting into capture, like forms, stuff like that. Are there any new forms that you need to build? Typically, do you want to turn your sort of evergreen one off? Really important. If you are building a new one, have you double checked the logic on it? Like, is it deploying on your top pages? That's a big mistake I see a lot of stores make sometimes, is they don't have the right pop-ups on their biggest pages, the ones that are getting the most traffic. So really double check that. Page speed, this is sort of an old internet marketing tactic, but you'd be surprised sometimes. Like I've seen clients have issues here. They build, they're either using these landing page builders with, lots of different offers. Sometimes it's kind of buggy, and, you just want to double check the page load speed, make sure like everything is flowing fast. And then when someone clicks on it, it goes to the offers fast. And that you're not having like, just a silly mistake like that is like causing conversions to go down on Black Friday, Cyber Monday. Again, what does it look like on mobile? 80% of you that are watching this that work for a store or own a store, like most of your traffic is going to come from mobile. Okay. But the reality is we work on, like us as digital marketers or entrepreneurs, whatever you are, we work on a desktop all day or on a laptop all day. So a lot of times I notice a lot of people, they design for desktop, but they forget that their customers are experiencing the brand in mobile. So I would even go so far as just starting and designing mobile first. But really just make sure it looks good on mobile, because chances are that's where a lot of your traffic's going to come from. Moving down funnel, like product pages, cart, checkout pages, are there any issues there? Like, is there broken links, broken pages, page load speeds? I already talked about making sure the offers work. Like, you just want to make sure nothing is broken down. Everything is crisp, it flows. And so again, when you start sending out these emails, when you start turning on these ads for Black Friday and having like a surge in traffic, nothing's broken. Everything's flowing correctly. And the conversion rate is going to stay high. Moving down the list here, a lot of clients will sometimes use countdown timers, scarcity tactics, anything to sort of just increase conversions on landing pages and stuff like that. Like, do the countdown timers work? Are they accurate? Um, that's sometimes people use this fake scarcity, and you just want to make sure it's like actually it works. There's no page load speed issues, and that you're not going to get hurt from a conversion rate standpoint because of a broken timer or just the timer was set up incorrectly. Um, Now moving down here, let's close out here. Do you have any like tracking scripts? Make sure they're working correctly, especially, Google Analytics would be one, Triple Whale, some of this other high roast, these tracking. There's so many of them now. Whatever you're using, just make sure it's set up correctly. It's transferring over to the new pages that you've set up. Do you have upsells and downsells, whether they're in the checkout, in the cart, post purchase? You want to think about this because sometimes like those checkouts, whether they're cart bumps, checkout bumps, post purchase checkout offers, a lot of times those can have a pretty big impact on your average order value. And you just want to make sure that like that average order value is at least going to somewhat stay consistent. Now, some stores, like what they'll do is, Black Friday, they'll have really high AOV offers, medium AOV offers, low AOV offers, and then they're putting them straight into the checkout. So you'll just want to make sure that yeah, your conversion rate might be the same, but that your average order value is roughly going to stay the same, if not increase. You just don't want to have like a massive drop off because you forgot about all the cart and checkout sort of cross-selling, upselling, whatever you're doing, that is, sort of impacting your AOV during evergreen times or business as usual times. So you just want to make sure it's all good there. And then lastly, loyalty. Not everyone has this. I know some people, the jury's still out on it. This is really effective, but if you do have a pretty thorough loyalty program, you just want to make sure, hey, like, is this actually working correctly? Or like, does this actually work in alignment with what we're doing Black Friday? So really important too, like how is the loyalty program? What happens for people to sign up? What happens with people who are already in the loyalty program? Again, just little details that can sort of go a long way. So I hope this helps you. Again, you can get all of this for free. Click the link in the description if you're watching this on YouTube. And yeah, I will see you guys in the next one. And I really hope this helps you have an amazing Black Friday. Thanks again for watching.